Celebration Radio 101.5 KAMB. Good afternoon. That's Lincoln Brewster. Love the Lord. 358 and about 96 degrees. Mark Murdoch. And a special guest in the studio with us, Brandon Heath, is with us today. Hey, Brandon.
What's up, Mark?
Not a lot, except for you being here.
Well, I'm glad
Appreciate
to be
you
here.
coming in. Yeah, congratulations on making it here to KAMB finally in your career.
Yeah, finally.
I mean, you've had Dove Awards, Best New Artist. You've had 4 #1 hit singles. You've been nominated for Grammys. You've won an Emmy. How does that happen? How do you win an Emmy?
I don't know.
That's a TV thing, isn't it?
It was kind of a fluke.
Yeah. Okay.
They just got a misprint on the name, I think.
Well, now you've reached the pinnacle because you've made it to KAMB.
Yes.
So, congratulations.
Finally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all downhill from here, though.
Well, I love this area, man. You guys kind of have it made. You're close to Yosemite. You're not too far from San Francisco.
Exactly.
You're in a good location.
Wherever somebody wants to be, we're on the way. That's one way to look at it.
That's true.
But
or if you really like almonds, or as they say, almonds, around here, you're in the right spot.
Yeah, you should. If you come here from another part of the country, though, bring your own water. That's what we ask. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, we got the drought going on.
Oh, yeah. We need to just bring you guys water, right?
That's right. We need to pipe it in from Nashville or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we've had too much rain in Nashville, but it sounds like I'm bragging right now. So, yeah. We don't know what to do with it.
All right. Well, we're going to have you with us for a few minutes here. We're going to ask you to play some actual live music, live in person in the studio here.
I can do that.
And we'll do that in a few minutes. In the meantime, we've got United with Oceans, Where Feet May Fail, coming up. 101.5 KAMB.
KAMB, Merced, Modesto, Stockton, Fresno, with translator K296FO Sonora, and worldwide at celebrationradio.com.
Celebration Radio, 101.5 KAMB, United with Oceans, Where Feet May Fail. And Mark Murdoch and Brandon Heath with us today. Thanks very much, Brandon, again for coming in. Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
You're from Nashville?
I am from Nashville.
You originate. I mean, you didn't go there after you became an artist, did you?
No. My mom and dad are both from Middle Tennessee. My dad was born and raised in Nashville. My mom is from a little town outside of Nashville. So, I've got some deep roots there. And, it's funny. I had no idea until I was in high school that it was Music City.
It was a special place.
It was just a town, It was like I played baseball and it's a very normal place to live.
But weren't you kind of surrounded by music and artists and stuff now that you look back on it? Or?
I was and I wasn't. And, I think in high school, when you probably remember in high school, you starting to kind of develop your own tastes and things that you like.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad used to make me listen to country music, and I was like, please change it. But I grew to love country music and really to love the heritage that is from the area where I grew up. And so I think, it's kind of a rites of passage, honestly, as a guy to learn how to play guitar as you're growing up in Nashville. So as soon as I learned how to play, I started writing songs, and that was it.
Yeah. All right. So when did you first start getting into music yourself? What age?
I was 16.
Okay.
It was 14 when I got my guitar, and then 16 when I kind of wrote my first real song, and it was real sappy. I was writing it for a girl, and it impressed her. We dated for 2 weeks. 2 months, which is really good for high school. And I'm still doing it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So now you're writing songs about the Lord and about faith and
more important
your
things.
Journey.
Yeah. And you know what? I still love writing love songs, and but for me it was like therapy, getting to write. I learned that it was a great release, and it's been really cool just as a contemporary Christian artist to write things that are more important to me, and then people really respond to it. So thankful that I get to do it as a job. Yeah.
Well, what do you got for us? You got a tune you'd like to play? Something you're sharing with people these days?
Yeah, and thank you for letting me play.
Sure, absolutely.
On the radio here. This is my trusty companion guitar, and I've got a song that I'd love to share with you. A song that I wrote with my friend Matt Marr, who's a great songwriter. And a great friend. But it's a song that became a worship song for me, and it's called Behold Our God. He is the glory of the stars. He is the lover of the human heart. The universe is in his hands. Next to him, none will stand. Behold our God in all his majesty. Behold our God, author of mystery. Behold our God, he is our Father and our friend, faithful to the end. Behold him. His love is wider than the sea, goes on forever through eternity. Washed on his shore with grains of sand. Next to him, none will stand. Behold our God in all his majesty. Behold our God, author of mystery. Behold our God, he is our Father and our friend, faithful to the end. Behold our King, fall down in wonder, and behold our King. There is no other, he is everything. He is the life and light of man, beginning and the end. Glorious, glorious, everything about you, everything about you is glorious, glorious. Come and see all of his beauty. Behold our God in all his majesty. Behold our God, author of mystery. Behold our God, he is our Father and our friend, beginning and the end. Oh, oh, behold, behold him. Oh, oh, fall down in wonder, 'cause there is no other. Behold our God.
Brandon Heath, Behold Our God, live with us here at KAMB. Brandon, that's fantastic.
Thank
That's
you.
from the latest album now?
Yeah, the record's called No Turning Back, and I think that's track number 7. I need to go back and look.
You didn't master it yourself.
I didn't.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Now, how do you write a worship song? I mean, how does that? I guess you could say sometimes I picture a songwriter sitting down saying, "Okay, I'm going to write a worship
Yeah.
song, and what can I say about God?" Okay,
right. That hasn't been
he's
said
majestic,
already.
he's
Yeah.
powerful, he's loving. You know, string together a bunch of attributes of God and then write some lyrics around it.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that process work for you?
Well, the cool thing is you can. There really are no rules in writing a worship song. The thing is, God finds anything that we give to him to be beautiful. You know, if you are, and I think that's important to say to people who are listening right now who's saying, I want to write a worship song. God will think anything that you write is beautiful, even if you can't sing. But I think what you're asking, you know, if you want to write a song that corporately people can sing, that maybe it'll work on the radio, you know, the first step for me is implore someone who does it a lot, which is a guy like Matt Maher. But for me, if I'm writing my own worship song, it really is going to be intimate, you know, because I want it to be my own personal offering. And one of the ways that I worship, And by the way, there's other ways to worship, not singing, that doesn't involve music.
Yeah.
I look at the stars. That's one of the ways that I worship God. I find him to be so huge and majestic when I find a good dark place in the sky at night so I can see the Milky Way.
Yeah, wow.
And it feels like God has pulled back the veil and shown me eternity.
Yeah.
And how many things can you see on this earth that show you that? And for me, that's where I just absolutely get lost, and I feel small, and I know how big God is, but I also feel loved, and that he called me his son, and that he made me in his image. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are like huge moments of worship for me. So I wanted to write a song about that, and that's really what that song is about.
Yeah. It's kind of that idea that the heavens declare the glory of God. And like Paul talks about in Romans 1, where creation, general revelation, I guess if we want to be theologically technical, says something about God, about his divine nature and his eternal power.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so, when you say, I don't see any evidence of God, I say,
I say
can you see?
I say go to the hospital and see babies that have just been born.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll show you miracles. Like if you're like, man, I really want to see a miracle, go see a baby, because that is a miracle. That to me is God before us, and that He's always been with us, and the fact that He lets us be a part of life. I mean, He's the Creator, but I can't see how people don't see God around them every day.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Once your eyes are opened, to me it's very hard to. I'm just going to close them again and say I don't want this to be the truth anymore.
Yeah,
I can't conceive how people do that. If they do,
and
maybe
you guys live just down the road from Yosemite. Just
we
go
do.
Look at Half Dome. You'll see God there. He's everywhere.
That's right. Go up there when the water is flowing and the falls are going.
Oh man!
And try to say, okay, this is it.
I can't conceive it. There must be a God.
Really? Yeah. Brandon, I was reading about you online here, checking you out a little bit. I found out that you were involved in Young Life as a teenager.
Yeah.
Talk about Young Life a little bit and how the Lord kind of got hold of your life through that.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because Young Life is actually a really big part of my life. Young Life, if you're listening and you don't know what it is an outreach to high school kids. And I was one of those high school kids. I grew up in the Bible Belt, Nashville, where, just for being an American, you're a Christian, but it's not necessarily true. Like, we don't necessarily hear the gospel growing up, especially if you're a part of it culturally. And so for me, it was just a college kid who was what we call a Young Life leader, who invited me to come to club. And club is where we meet once a week, and we sing songs and play goofy games, and we hear a little bit of the gospel. And that was what I did. And there are camps all over the U.S. Called Young Life camps. There's one in Northern California called Woodleaf that I've been to many times.
I've been there
once
or twice.
Yeah.
I don't think it was an official Young Life camp. I think it was
they do like
InterVarsity thing.
Yeah, they do like science camps there and all kinds of cool things. But Young Life has properties all over the country, and I went to one in Canada. And on June I had to figure this out. I think June the 18th, 1995. That was Father's Day. That is the day that I gave my life to Jesus on the 9th hole of the Frisbee golf course. So, it was just a conversation with my Young Life leader, who had been sharing Jesus with me all along. But it was in His timing and in God's timing, and in my decision to follow Him. And so this new record is actually about that summer, 20 years ago, when I made that decision. And my life has been better. It's just been, don't mistake better for easier, but it's been better.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. I think I had fewer problems before I became a Christian.
Yeah.
Than after
Well, we still have problems, right?
But, yeah,
as Christians,
absolutely.
But we're not alone in our problems.
Exactly.
We've got, God promises to never leave or forsake us.
Right.
And man, I've absolutely felt that. There have been times of trial for sure, but he doesn't promise that those will go away, but he promises that he'll never leave us. So that in itself is just this great safety net to know that you can never mess up too much, you know?
Yeah.
He's always going to be there.
Yeah, yeah. 417, Brandon Heath with us in the studio. 96 degrees. How's the weather out here treating you? Is it a little less humid than
I'm loving
where
it.
you're from?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
guessing,
so swampy where I live. You have like 3 showers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just thankful all the time that I live in a time when there is such a thing as air conditioning. Yeah.
No doubt, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
150 years ago.
No, I would have wimped out.
Yeah. Why haven't they invented air conditioning yet? Brandon, I was just looking again at your accomplishments here, and we were talking off the air a little bit about self-promotion.
Yeah.
Is that something you enjoy doing? Is that something that, anytime you're an artist and you want to sell your art or put yourself out there, you kind of are in a position where you have to promote yourself.
Yeah.
Is that something you like to do?
That's what I was going to say. It's more of a have to kind of thing. I mean, we could get into a whole philosophical conversation about this, but I don't think anybody is built to self-promote. Like, we're not really supposed to promote ourselves, so it's like feels silly. And it's funny because we're in an age now where it's like the selfie age. It is self-promotion. Everything we do is self-promotion.
Here's my dinner picture.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a picture of me, eating a snow cone. I like social media. I think it's fun, but I think if I were to, for myself, I can only point at myself. If I were to really look inwardly all the time and constantly feel like, okay, is this cool what I'm doing right now? Then I don't feel like I could ever really be myself. Yeah. So I think the better way to just do what I do is to know who I am, know who I belong to, and when I do something a little, off color, like laugh at myself, forgive myself, but then know that I'm loved and I'm still a work in progress. So none of us have to be perfect. Yeah. And I feel better about myself knowing that I can make mistakes and brush myself off and I'm still loved. I think sometimes on our Facebook pages we have to portray, that we are perfect and we're anything but, So
yeah. Well, what is your big hit? Is it "Give Me Your Eyes" or what is it?
Yeah, I would say, if there's a career song, "Give Me Your Eyes."
So far.
Yeah, so far, exactly. I'm 10 years in.
Yeah, exactly.
10 years in, I would say "Give Me Your Eyes" is my career song, for sure.
Okay. You get a lot of feedback, no doubt. I mean, if you've got a song that's a hit, it has resonated with a lot of people. And people must come to you and say, "Oh, I love that song."
The day that I wrote it with a friend, Jason Ingram. I mean, we knew it was a good song, but we didn't know that it would turn into sermons and that, that people would pull their cars over and feel convicted, or that it would be the background music for countless mission trips. But it really has. Like, I met a woman last night for the last 3 years that "Give Me Your Eyes" is her ringback tone on her phone, because she just wants to be reminded all the time. And I was like, frankly, I would be tired of the song if it was my ringback song. But I'm so thankful that God gave me that song. It's a huge gift, and if that's my career song, then I'm proud of my career.
Yeah, good. I often wonder about artists like you when you have a song like that. It's kind of maybe your signature song, and you work for hours and hours and hours writing it, and maybe in the studio recording it and going over and over and over it, and then you perform it for years and years.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sick of a song like? I mean, do you ever say, I never want to play that song again. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. There are songs that shall remain nameless that I am tired of, but for whatever reason, "Give Me Your Eyes" is not. I haven't gotten tired of that one. I think mostly because people light up when I sing that, and they sing along, and here's a secret. Like, if you go see somebody in concert, the more you're into it, the more they'll be into it. And there can't be that. I don't ever place that expectation on an audience, but it sure helps. You know, like they pay good money to see me. I'm going to give them a good show.
Yeah.
But if they show up and they're into it and they're clapping and they're singing, you're going to get the best show you've ever gotten from that performer. So yeah, that's why I still love that.
And I think when I'm on the audience, I pick up on that too.
Yeah.
This artist is really into it because we're really into it.
Oh man, it's such a it's kind of a give and take thing, you know. We're fragile beings, that we artists, you know, we love our egos stroked, and you know, we want to know that we're affirmed. But you know, it's like anything else. You just don't want to feel alone up on stage.
Right.
If you got a bunch of like empty expressions staring back at you, it's like, okay, are they into it or not? But But I'm a professional, and I'm gonna I do it no matter what.
There you go. Even if you're just in a radio studio.
Yeah.
Well, shall we play that song? I've got it ready to go here.
Yeah, we can't talk about it and not play it.
That's right. We got to play Give Me Your Eyes. So this is Brandon Heath, Give Me Your Eyes, 101.5 KAMB.
Look down from a broken sky, traced up by the city lights. My world from a mile high, best seat in the house tonight.
Celebration Radio 101.5 KAMB. Give Me Your Eyes by Brandon Heath. 427, Mark Murdoch and Brandon Heath with us right here in the studio.
Here,
hey,
live
Brandon.
in person.
Thanks again for coming in. Appreciate it. Where did you come from today?
Well, I woke up this morning in Rapid City, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I traveled far to see you.
Yeah, all right.
Here I am.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we really do.
Thanks for having me in.
Did you go see Mount Rushmore?
I did last night. Yeah.
Have you ever seen it before?
I've seen it during the day, but I've never seen it at night.
They light that thing up, don't they, at night?
Yeah, it's almost cooler at night, honestly. It's like, and the coolest thing, when we got there, every night when they take their flag down for the day, they will ask anybody who has served in the armed forces to come forward and state their name and their rank, and then at the very end, everybody stands and applauds them for their service.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So we got there right when they were doing the ceremony, and they do it every day.
Every day.
I was so impressed.
Wow,
I was
neat.
like, this is really cool. So, yeah, it's cool.
We came up to Mount Rushmore, I think, from the south. I didn't plan to talk to you about Mount Rushmore, but anyway, from the south, and you come through this like national park, and then you come through a couple of tunnels, and there it is.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we were leaving, we drove through all the touristy stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm glad we came that way.
That's the
because
more
we
cool
didn't
way.
hit the touristy stuff first.
Yeah.
We came through the cool part first, and I didn't realize there was all that touristy stuff there until we were leaving.
I'm really, honestly, super thankful. I mean, there's a few touristy things up at Yosemite, but there's not a ton.
That's true.
It's been pretty left, like, natural.
You know, there's less than there used to be, actually.
Really?
There was a flood that came through there a few years ago, knocked out some of the campsites, and so they didn't rebuild them.
Wow.
You used to be able to buy gas on the valley floor in Yosemite. You can't do that anymore.
Wow. I think that's actually
So I think
great.
they've actually throttled back on some of the commercial stuff in Yosemite.
Well, Rushmore, if you're listening, let's throttle back a little bit. Let's do it.
Maybe so. All right. Well, the song "Give Me Your Eyes," we were just talking about Ken Thompson, one of our weekend announcers here, who was greatly impacted by that too. He hadn't really heard Christian music before he heard that song. And
wow.
So he and his wife kind of turned him onto that song, and
that's cool. And now he's a DJ
yeah,
here.
now he's a DJ here at KAMB on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
That's very cool.
Yeah, he's a pilot.
Is he
for
really?
American Airlines? Yeah.
That's cool. Man, he's like a Renaissance
He
man.
might have flown you someplace.
He probably
at some
has.
point in your life.
I've been on many American Airlines flight.
Okay. Now, I've been told I'm supposed to ask you about your astronaut friend.
Yes.
There's a story there about that?
Yeah, it's really cool. So I have this, everybody should have an astronaut friend, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason that I lived in Houston for a couple of years, and I'll give you the 2-minute version.
Okay.
And you're thinking, please, only 2 minutes. So his name is Terry Virts, and he had never been to space, which is funny.
Yeah. There are astronauts who haven't been to space.
Who have never been to space, but if you're not in the program, you're an astronaut. So he and I became friends. He gave me a tour of NASA. He's a big Christian music fan, and so then he ended up being the pilot on one of the last shuttle missions, and then he was asked to go back to the space station as the commander. And he calls me up one morning. This is like 3 years ago, and says, "Hey, Brandon, I'm going to be the commander of the space station. I wondered if you would like to design the patch on the space for the mission."
But you're a musician.
I know, and so I lied and said, "Yes, I can totally do that. I've never designed anything, not since kindergarten, anyways."
Yeah.
So
you scribbled something.
So I called a friend who's a true designer, and he and I designed this thing. NASA approved it. So my friend Terry just got back 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
He was the commander for 7 months on the space station.
Wow.
If you go Google, and if you're driving, wait until later to do this.
Yeah.
Expedition 43, you can see the patch, and his name is Terry Virts. It is one of the greatest. It's like better than a Grammy for me when he did that.
That's really
because
something.
I've always, I was telling you earlier how I love space.
Yeah.
So
and who gets to do that?
Nobody.
Nobody gets
it's crazy.
To do that. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's God for you.
That really is. In 1974, I got to meet Story Musgrave.
Story. Okay.
He was an astronaut.
Okay.
And at the time I met him, he hadn't been to space either.
Oh, no kidding.
I was in the Civil Air Patrol, and we were down there. And
nice.
We meet this astronaut. We're going to meet an astronaut. Oh yeah, this guy is Story Musgrave. Never heard of him before.
Yeah.
And he's never been to space, but he's an astronaut. And we're going, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really impressed,
But so how many?
But he has been since then.
That's so awesome. I'm telling you, everybody needs a friend who's an astronaut.
Yeah.
Coolest thing ever.
It is. Marshall Space Flight Center. Have you been there?
I've heard of Marshall, but I've never been there. Where is it? It's close to you, right?
It's in Houston. No, that's not Houston.
Oh, okay.
No, it's in Alabama.
Andrews is what is in California.
Andrews is in California. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we used to have an Air Force base out here, but it's been closed. Anyway, so the astronaut friend story, we covered that. What you got? Any projects coming up that we should know about?
Yes.
You have a tour in the fall and stuff like that?
I'm coming on tour with Third Day. We're playing Sacramento. That's as close as we're getting to here.
Okay.
But
that's within driving range.
It is. It's not too bad. But I have to give a shout out to Jim Shasky, who's a great friend of mine, who's brought me to Merced many times. So I will be back.
All right, good.
Yes, I
we'll
promise.
expect that.
So give me a call, Shasky. Let's do a show.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So as a Christian artist, singer, songwriter, performer, what aspect of it do you enjoy the most? Is it the performing? Is it the writing? Is it the recording? What is it?
I love getting to meet people after a show and hearing what the music is doing in people's lives. That's probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
Just because you don't really realize what you're doing until, you meet people who are hearing the songs and have made the songs their own. And so that's always super rewarding for me.
Yeah.
Love that part.
Yeah. Well, talk about the album and the song, No Turning Back.
No Turning Back.
How long has that been out now?
Oh, it came out in February. So it's, I guess, 5 months?
All right.
Something like that. My math is bad. It's a record that I wrote about the summer of 1995. Now, don't mistake, it doesn't sound like 1995.
Okay.
But it's about the summer of 1995 when I became a believer. And I wrote the song No Turning Back with one of my favorite worship bands, All Sons and Daughters. Mm-hmm. So they're singing on the song, and it's really about a statement of faith, standing in front of your friends and saying, this is the decision that I've made, and there's no turning back.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of important to have that sort of commitment.
Yeah.
And to express that commitment.
I totally agree.
And sometimes we don't always live up to it.
Yep.
Perfectly. But I think sometimes it's good to have that as an ideal and put it out there.
Yeah, I think sometimes we can get off the road a little bit, even after making that profession of faith, but God never leaves us. And honestly, that's what this record is about, is really his faithfulness over the last 20 years. And, it's kind of cool to have a history with the Lord, because, it is a relationship, and the more time you have with him, you can see how he's been faithful.
Yeah. So where do you go from here? Are you heading down the road? You heading up the road? What are you doing?
I am heading up the road. We are headed to Sacramento tomorrow, and then I fly to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all over the place right
You're
now.
all over.
Yes.
All right.
My frequent flyer miles are super impressive.
All right. Well, thanks again, Brandon, for coming in here to KAMB and chatting with us for a little while. Sure appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Really, really cool to be here.
Yeah. All right. God bless and good travels.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, it's Plum with Exhale, 101.5 KAMB.